And we are live. We are post live, a surprise final panel, horrific podcast final panel for you with our production team. I am Jimmy J, another proud moderator there at the bottom. Ashley, and then in the other corner, Charlie, top corner there. Also moderating a panel with Barbara Magnolfi this weekend. Down below, me and Jay, kind of 50-50 there in the bottom row. Andrew helped us out on the production team as well as we close out the first ever Sinister CyberCon. I hope that you guys all enjoyed it.
John needs his own introduction.
And John, I'm sorry, I forgot you, John. Of course, helped us.
I was so behind the scenes that you just forgot about me. That's how good I was.
So I would hope that you guys would be kind of interested in what we do year round on top of helping out with the panel production for Sinister Creature Con and now Sinister CyberCon. Horrific Network, when we are not helping out with those conventions, we are podcasting a lot of the time together. And one of our podcasts deals in haunted houses. And that is one of those things that we hope everybody is safe and sound. And we hope that everybody can kind of help everybody out and shelter in place and help us get through this thing and flatten the curve so we can have our haunted house season that we are hyping up right now on the podcast that we do. And we debate over many of things and talk about if certain films would make good haunted houses. And we came up with this idea that we would have a bracket here tonight that gives us that kind of gives us certain matchups that we could debate about really quick just for fun to show everybody the kind of podcast that we do and to try to get some viewers to comment on if they like certain job or certain matchups over others along with us. And then the final two that come down to it, long story short, in our little tournament that we designed here, we will debate about on our next podcast. So there you go. So here's our bracket, people, of Sinister CyberCon. These characters were chosen by the round table, and then their numbers assigned at random. So in the first round, we have Dracula. That's the classic Bela Lugosi Dracula versus Art the Clown from the Terrifier franchise. Then we have Freddy Krueger. That's classic
Robert
Englund Freddy versus Krampus, Michael Daughtry Krampus from a few years ago. Then we have Leslie Vernon, friend of Sinister Creature Con and Horrific Network. Leslie Vernon versus Norman Bates, probably the best first round matchup, I would say. And then we have a Creature, as in Creature from Black Lagoon, versus the new Freddy Krueger, meaning the Jackie Earle Haley version of that. So let's start with there. The Creature from the Black Lagoon versus Jackie Earle Haley Freddy Krueger. What do you guys say? John, Ashley, who wins and why?
Definitely not Jackie Earle Haley's Freddy Krueger.
John, completely 100% going Creature Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually,
I'm gonna go Creature as well, just because Creature's amazing and pretty badass. So
not like divisive whatsoever. 100% Creature from Black Lagoon.
Yeah, I've always loved Creature. He's my favorite monster of the classic Universal monsters, and
mine too.
I don't know why I've always just identified with Creature. I don't know if it's just because it's not like something that was a human, or like have dialogue or anything. It literally is just a straight monster that's fish-like, and it's an animal that's just doing what it would do, whether it's territorial or feeding and stuff like that. So I think that's just why I've always enjoyed Creature.
Well, I will say this for you, John. You are a fan, man. Like, doesn't seem like Creature gets a whole lot of love, and you are pretty 100% Creature, both of you. Creature 2-0, Charlie. Creature, or who did you want to see? The new Freddy or the Creature from the Black Lagoon?
Well, I have a real fondness for the Universal monsters, as you know, Jim, being about as old as the Universal monsters. So, of course, I have a fondness for the Creature from the
Charlie.
Black Lagoon, but I'm going to take Freddy Krueger as the character and not the Jackie Earl Haley version of him, but just Freddy Krueger. And he's okay. Look at he's a
Charlie. Charlie, listen to me right now. This is okay. This is actually perfect for if you're watching. These are the kind of things that we hit in the road sometimes on the podcast.
Okay,
Charlie.
So I'm the speed bump in the podcast.
Tiny speed bump.
Can I even get it out?
No.
Let me give you my explanation.
No, because you said something. Charlie.
Ashley says we have 7 minutes, and I haven't taken up my minute 30 seconds yet. Okay,
Charlie.
Supernatural versus biological. I'll take supernatural every time. There you go. Oh, I'm understand. I'm out. Okay, shit.
Charlie. You said your first words, Charlie, were that you were not going to go with the Jackie Earl Haley version of the character Freddy, right? You said that.
I'm going with Freddy Krueger as a entity. Doesn't matter what terrible actor played him. I'm going as the entity Freddy Krueger. I mean, I'm going with Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger. Hey, the creature can't get out of water for very long anyway. It's a big drawback, He has to go back into the water.
100%.
I mean, that's a very good point.
Freddy pops into dreams.
Unfortunately, the numbers in the chat and such would suggest that Creature would advance. So let's go to our next matchup. We have the other version of Freddy Krueger. Charlie, I want you to listen to this.
Okay.
We have the original Freddy Krueger version. That Freddy, because the Creature from the Black Lagoon one was against the new Freddy. We said that.
Right. I gotcha.
Okay, so this is the Robert Englund version of Freddy.
Right, I got that.
Okay. Is taking on Krampus. The Michael Daughtry, the Krampus. What would you want to have?
Me again?
John and Ashley, what would you go with?
This one's tough, but I really like Freddy Krueger, but I mean, if you really want to look at it as a fight for this one,
Krampus.
I mean, Freddy Krueger is definitely being naughty, so I think Krampus would put his ass in a snow globe.
Yeah, I'm pretty much Team Krampus.
Oh, I like that. I like that image.
What do you guys think, Charlie?
Okay.
What do you think of that matchup? Who are you going with?
I'm going to I'm going to go with Krampus just based on age and experience. Okay, he's been in the supernatural biz longer than Freddy, so I think
Very
Krampus
long time.
has the edge just based on that. He's been around longer. So Krampus.
Interesting. So 3-0 Krampus right now. Jay.
I go with Freddy because when it comes down to it, you can avoid Krampus by just being a good person. Whereas there's no avoiding Freddy. He will find you. He will get you.
So you are Freddy.
I am Freddy.
All right.
Team Freddy.
Andrew,
Team Freddy.
who do you go with, Andrew?
110% Freddy.
So it's 3-2, 3-2. Freddie, but April Anderson comes in, says, "I'm gonna have to say Team Krampus. Have you seen those feet?"
Well, you know what they say about a guy with big feet.
That's right.
I mean, if that was your biggest fear, I'm pretty sure Freddy could bring that on you.
But we get April saying Jay's right. So Freddie,
Can I get a screenshot of that so I can show my wife?
go ahead, take it right now. Hurry,
Hey,
3, 2, 1.
thank
There you
you.
go.
There we
You
go.
gotta
Print
find
the
it.
screen.
You got to find it later on and cut it yourself.
Oh, it's wonderful. Thank you.
So Freddie back on top. So Freddie actually stealing it and advancing to the Final Four, so to speak. Now you've got Dracula, Bela Lugosi Dracula versus Art the Clown. The David Howard Thornton, who we met and Ashley freaked out a little bit about. Art the Clown versus the classic, the one, the only, Bela Lugosi, and the Dracula. Charlie, I'm going to start with you. Make you choose the hard choice first.
It's not a hard choice for me. Who's scarier? Art the Clown. That guy is freaking terrifying. That's why they call the movie The Terrifier. But supernatural being, flesh and blood, hysterical, maniacal clown. I'll take the supernatural being every time against somebody who's really a normal human being, not a normal human being, but against somebody who has the restrictions of being immortal. Okay, so supernatural being Dracula kicks his clown tail.
Let's say the last first round matchup that we got, Leslie Vernon versus Norman Bates. John, I know you wanted to talk about that one. You're kind of excited, having to choose between those two, the kind of prospect of a versus movie. What would you say between those two? Leslie Vernon versus Norman Bates.
Yeah, what's so interesting about this one, this is the one matchup where it's literally two humans, like two straight humans going against each other. And I think it comes down to is, I mean, Norman Bates is completely insane and psychotic to that point to where, he's a little bit unpredictable, while Leslie Vernon was very smart. And the way he planned everything out, and it shows in the movie the background of how he would plan things out for people to find this stuff. And it's like the backside of being a serial killer that you've always wanted to see. So, I mean, I think in that matter, I think Leslie Vernon would have the one up because he would have the planning to take out Norman in that case.
I wanted to say this is, of all of the first round matchups, this is the one that I would go pay a ticket to go watch a movie for right this moment.
Yes,
because
right.
I adore this matchup. I look at both of them as two completely separate. I look at Leslie Vernon very much as a hunter. He's out there going for the kill, and then you got Norman Bates, who is very much a spider. The flies come to him. So I think when it comes down to it, patience might win the day, and I'm putting it behind Norman Bates.
Okay.
Interesting.
Charlie, who do you say?
Well, I would say Leslie for the same reasons. You know, Norman Bates, of course, is the psycho. Where did I get that? But he's also imbalanced, so he doesn't know he doesn't really manipulate his reality well. You know, he's masquerading as his mother. He really doesn't know that he's doing that. He thinks she's really alive, so he's so much out of touch. Whereas I don't think Leslie is. I think he's just a planner. I think he's a predator. I think he's, you know, I see him as smarter, you know, and he's playing with more cards. They're not very nice cards, but he's playing with more cards than Norman is.
So you're going Leslie Vernon.
Leslie
Ashley?
Vernon, for sure.
Ashley, who would you say?
I'm gonna go with Norman Bates. Just
So
plain and
two-
simple Norman Bates. He's psychotic. He has. I just feel like Norman Bates is gonna be my choice for sure.
I will who is the last one? Andrew, who would you say?
Andrew.
So Leslie Vernon, Andrew says why? Andrew, speak it loud.
I just feel like Leslie Vernon's character is probably more manipulative than Norman Bates, where he's more like, I guess, just like passion crimes of going absolutely nuts. So having someone set something up so far in advance just to kill me kind of scares me more than like someone just going, "Oh, man, I'm gonna murder you," and then keep you with my mother for years to come.
Christian in the chat, Bates wouldn't even hurt a fly. I don't know about that. But it does seem to be that Leslie Vernon has enough votes to advance. So now you have Leslie Vernon versus the creature from the Black Lagoon, and Art the Clown versus Freddy Krueger.
Okay.
Damn.
So you get creature from Black Lagoon versus Leslie Vernon. Who are you going with, John?
Oh man. That one's tough because again it comes down to Leslie's kind of that hunter, and he's got like that hunter, you know, mentality, and he would plan things out. I mean, it's very dangerous. It's almost like a Batman-esque type character, to where, you know, he's going to do the investigative work to find out what would make Creature tick to go after him. So I mean, at that point, anybody going after him has a downside right away. I mean, it would all depend on the scenario, but I think if it was that type of scenario, I think Leslie would win.
Ashley, Creature was your
Yeah, and I'm going with Creature again, just because I think that element of surprise. I think that he will find a creative way.
And he'll just take out Leslie Vernon, huh? He'll drown him.
Yeah.
Element of surprise. He's in the Black Lagoon. It's easy to find him. He's in one spot.
Yeah.
Where's
but
the surprise?
you gotta go. But how's Leslie Vernon going to get to the very bottom of the lagoon?
He's gonna go
He's got-
fishing.
Is he?
He's got freedom of movement and freedom of resources. And like we said, Leslie's a hunter. End of the day, I love the Creature. Don't get me wrong. Creature's my favorite Universal monster. But end of the day, he's an animal.
He's got limitations. He's
Yeah.
got a lot of limitations. Yeah.
Yeah.
We go to the other of the final 4 matchups. You have Art the Clown versus Freddy Krueger, who Art the Clown kind of has a Freddy Krueger vibe to him without delivering any dialogue whatsoever, as far as the brutality that he produces. Art the Clown sawing his way through that lady, and Freddy Krueger bursting through past Sinister Creature Con guest, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Mark, and that brutality is pretty similar.
Yeah.
Who do you guys vote for?
I'm going with Freddy because of longevity. He's had more kills under his belt. He continually, and Art's got to sleep sometime.
All right.
You would think.
At some point.
Well, I mean, he turns out to be a supernatural guy, right?
As far as we know, at the end of the film, yeah, he
Maybe
doesn't.
he ends up coming back to life. So maybe he doesn't sleep. We don't actually know.
Maybe.
Yeah, we don't know.
That's true. That's true. But we don't know that for sure yet. Maybe in the sequel.
And we don't think Jason Voorhees can sleep, and Freddy can get a jump on Jason.
Right.
Well, Jason just sleeps with
Yeah, they put the syringes in him.
That's really, he
So-
only comes to life when people are doing it in his vicinity, and he goes and murders them around wherever they are. Am I wrong?
Thanks, Kane.
I think in all honesty, like, this would be a badass movie in itself as well, just because they're 2 brutal characters. They shred people apart. And the comedy between the 2 alone, as far as it being a horror movie, and the comedy that they use would be fantastic, actually, with the 2 of them. And
Honestly, when we started talking about this, the first thing that popped in my brain was a horror celebrity death match versus horror characters.
Oh my God. See, I'm going a different way. What if it turns into a buddy comedy? Art and Freddy decide to team up. You get him in the day, I get him in the night. Let's go, buddy.
Oh,
So, what is your final, John? Creature from the Black Lagoon, and Leslie Vernon, and calm down, Charlie. Who's your
I think I'm behind or something. Is that the one we're discussing? Am I a beat behind, or are you a beat behind, Jim?
I mean,
Because
it's
one of us
most
is.
Charlie? Charlie, listen. The matchups that we're debating about are
Okay.
listen, Linda, listen.
Leslie Vernon versus the Creature from Black Lagoon, Charlie.
Right.
And
Got it.
Art the Clown versus Freddy. So what I was about to say, Mr. Step Behind, is John, what 2 winners do you pick?
Ooh. Like it would have to be out of the 2 brackets, or like for total.
No.
For
Yeah,
the 2
the
brackets.
bracket.
I think I would love to see, as the end game, Art the Clown versus Leslie Vernon.
Okay. Good job answering that question exactly the way I needed you to answer it, so we can get this over with. Ashley, what would you choose?
Well, no, I'm just kidding. I mean, yeah, I probably agree with John. I'll probably go Leslie Vernon versus Art the Clown. Art the Clown absolutely terrifies me. He even meeting the person, in meeting him at the con, I couldn't hardly have a conversation with him. It freaks me out.
He's such a nice guy.
So yeah,
Was
that's
it
my
'cause-
choice.
He's a
Was it
cool
because
guy.
he was posing
He's a
like
nice
this?
guy, but Yeah, and because he knew about my fear, and so he kept trying little things to like get me. We'd be standing there talking, and he'd like reach around and like poke me, and I was like, don't touch me, because I know who you play. So yeah, so definitely Art the Clown versus Leslie Vernon.
Art the Clown versus Leslie. Charlie.
What were my choices again? No, just kidding. Just kidding. Leslie Vernon versus Freddy Krueger.
Okay. What made you want to see Art take on Freddy? I'm sorry, you wanted to see Leslie take on Freddy versus instead of Art.
Well, we're because I don't think Art would win the contest with Freddy Krueger.
Oh.
I don't think he would. So he just
I'm agreeing with
advanced.
Charlie.
He just advanced through his own merit. There you go.
And Jay, what would you want to see your final be?
I gotta agree with Charlie and say Freddy versus Leslie.
Okay.
And it's
See,
mainly
Jim.
I want to see Freddy mainly because if the end result of this battle is what the house is going to be that you're going to make, you've got a wealth of material with Freddy Krueger. That you've got even more kills, even more scares. I got to go with Freddy.
So, Andrew, you really decide what the conversation on an episode of Campfire Chronicles will be.
Ooh.
And that is one of the podcasts that we, the Horrific Network, the producers, alongside Sinister Creature Con for this Sinister CyberCon, produce on a weekly basis right now, spring summer podcast. Topic of conversation would be a matchup. Leslie Vernon is the one constant. Do you want to see him take on Freddy Krueger, or do you want to see him take on Art the Clown?
I think seeing him take on Art the Clown would probably be a little bit more interesting.
So a Leslie Vernon versus.
I do like the fact that you could get like Leslie killing people and having him like in the dreams of him killing people, like him asleep killing people with Freddy coming in and killing him. I like the idea of that.
So what's your decision? 5,
All right,
4,
I'm gonna go Freddy.
3.
I'm calling Freddy.
Freddy. So a Leslie Vernon versus Robert England version of Freddy Krueger. We'll talk about. All you got to do is follow us, Horrific Network. You will see that show link go up in the future. But right now, I want to thank you guys who watched all these panels, for Brian Jones, for the Sinister Creature Con team, and for these guys right here, this production team up on this screen with me right now. We thank you very much. Those panel videos should stay up throughout, as long as they're able to stay up. So if you missed one of the panels, you can go back and check those out. And we look forward to Sinister Creature Con this October. So thank you very much again, and happy Mother's Day, and stay safe, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.